In the booth, we have the ultimate survival authority. Malu Beyonce, pronounced like Skip to Malou, and superfan Gabe K. Should've brought duct tape.
Welcome back to another show of Oh Heck Nah, a Naked and Afraid podcast. We're focusing on Global Showdown, episode number 2. And I have my co-host with me,
Gabe K.
And he's a super fan. And me, Malu, who is a super fan, but also a 2-time survivalist. This is just crazy. I'm ready to get into it. No elimination, Gabe. You called it. I thought there was going to be an elimination, but there's not. And we have some theories about this, right? Everybody's probably wondering, why is there no elimination? And to me, this show's dragging a little bit, but we figured it out. Gabe, tell everybody what's the real deal, Holyfield. Why has there not been an elimination?
Because with the assumption that a certain controversial team is going home first, they're trying to stretch out as much content of them as possible so we can see them a lot. So when they go home, they could just, go really fast for the last few challenges.
I think that's exactly right. Somebody's going home, and whoever's going home first is like key to the show, and they really wanted to milk it. That's what we think. But we've been wrong before. Not really. But, okay, so we have so much to talk about. What is the first thing we should address? Let's go over the competition. They think it's about getting extra points by building this bridge, but then they sneak in there and say, oh, you have to build a torch with the wick. And I think the torch and the wick is causing a lot of controversy. Break down what you thought the rules were for the torch.
From what I understand, they have to make only one torch, but they can make several wicks, so they could replenish it throughout whichever competition they were about to do.
So they don't give any details, and they say you can make as many wicks as you want. Let's get to the controversial stuff first, which is Teal and Frank's argument. Would you say that's number 1 on the list?
I think it was definitely the first argument of the episode.
Yes, this is the first
Yep.
argument. And I think me and Gabe have a lot of different viewpoints about this argument. What did you think about it?
From what we saw, Teal asked Frank, hey, do you want me to make a bunch of bird's nests out of this rope that we got from a previous challenge? And he said yes.
Do you want me to make a bird's nest, or do you want me to make a longer one?
Do the bird's nest.
On his own. And he's like, oh, I have this whole new method where he just takes a bunch of sticks and wraps them together. And then he comes back and he's working on wrapping a bunch of the sticks together. And Teal looks over and she's like, hey, this isn't what we discussed. That's when she did you told me what to do, and I have all these materials and I laid them out for you and you're not using them.
So I'm watching Frank, and it feels like he's not building the wicks with the bird's nest. 40 minutes shredding this whole thing. It was prepped for you, but you just made them without it. I do not understand when
Honestly, she might be way overthinking all this. I don't know.
Hey guys, I'm here editing the video for the podcast, and I'm going to interject something in here really fast. This is what I'm talking about. When Teal addresses the problem and says, I don't understand, instead of him being accountable, he blames her. You may be overthinking this. Well, what about your actions? Your actions are you went a different direction. And she wants you to explain why you went a different direction. But I just had to inject this in here because it's kind of annoying me.
Teal got really frustrated and some bickering ensued.
I don't know if Teal's going to like what I'm about to say or dislike what I'm about to say, but this, to me, was a little bit shady on Frank's part. First off, we got to remember the edit. Frank 100% said, do the bird's nest. And Teal then said, okay, my partner called it. I'm going to do what he says. So she's doing great teamwork. And then when the argument ensued, he really didn't address the real issue. And Teal pointed out something really good. She said, why are you going to use it now when you made the first 4 without it? And basically, I think Frank was trying to avoid the situation and make himself not seem like the bad guy because he did ask her and he didn't use it. And he's like, I'm telling you, it's all going to be used. No, you didn't use it. And now you're going to use it. And you're kind of blowing off Teal's observations.
We'll use all this.
Well, you weren't using this, and I don't see why you would use it now if you've made 4 without it.
Because 4 ain't enough.
But why wouldn't you make the other 4 the same way?
Am I wrong?
I don't think you're wrong. Though I think the issue is what the edit is showing us, because we see Frank talking about, oh, I've seen Teal's highs and lows and I know how she can get, and then cut to the season finale of Apocalypse. So in the audience mind, who may not be privy to the information that you and I kind of have seen with previous Naked and Afraid, I think a lot of people are going to be on Frank's side because the edit is kind of leaning towards, oh, Teal can have like a little bit of a temper tantrum here and there. What we're seeing is she's doing what she's supposed to do. He's not communicating with her. She's like, where's the communication? I'm putting in all this work and effort and you're just kind of ignoring me.
This is why you tune in to us. This is some really shady editing, and I understand it. But if you want to be a super fan and know what's really going on, they took 3 people saying something negative about Teal and played it back to back to back and did not paint her in a good picture. Teal, I got you, girl. That was wrong. It really made it seem like you were moody when you're not.
I don't know what's happened with Teal.
Something is wrong with her. She's like mentally taking a cliff dive and doesn't want to be around anyone.
Let's just be quiet for the next 2 hours then.
Yeah, right.
You are right. And she even said kind of at the end of the bickering, it was just a miscommunication. So it's just like...
It was not a miscommunication. I'm sorry to interrupt. It was not a miscommunication. What happened was this. This is from a super fan's point of view. Frank asked her to do something, changed his mind, did not discuss it with her, and then try to backtrack and say, oh, I am going to use it in the next 4. But he probably would not have used it in the next 4. I don't know. But you should have used all of it in all of them since you asked her to do it, or at least conversate with her and say, hey, I know I asked you to do this, but I have a change of plans. Let's discuss it. And so it wasn't miscommunication. It was bad communication on Frank's part. And Teal was humble enough to try to smooth it over. Good job, Teal. Work on your communication, Frank. Let's move on. Second controversy, Dan and the darn cheating.
Yeah.
People are saying he cheated. Y'all are some petty people. I thought I was petty. And I thought I was going to be going after the contestants hard this time. But no, we're going after the fans. What are the fans saying about Dan?
Gosh. From what I saw, there was a post made where there was a video. It showed Dan at the burning the rope to the pyre rock. And it looks like he pushes at the rock with the torch and the rock falls. People are trying to say that he pushed it out of the rope it was tied in without burning through it. Despite the fact, if you look at the video, you can see the singe marks on, or the rope was currently burning and had like frayed open. And he just kind of was like moving the torch a little bit and it just fell out.
Okay, people are going to get on to me for getting on to you. I don't like your hand movements. He wasn't doing this. He touched it. What? So did everybody else. Pablo touched it. You know how hard it is to hold something steady? He touched it. He didn't cheat. He touched the rock. So did everybody else. Some people were literally holding up the rock against their fire. Correct?
Correct.
Why is everybody picking on Dan? I don't get it. It's shady. He's clearly trying to communicate with his partner, Rachel. And I feel like I'm picking on Rachel and I'm not. I'm just pointing something out. Later on in the challenge, she wanted to use the pyre rock for the deadfall. And the rules were that the deadfall had to be big enough to kill that rat. The little pyre rock is not big enough. And so she does lack, and it doesn't matter that she's new or not. It was a wrong idea. And I feel like Kai and Alexa have a really good lead where Alexa knows that Kai has more knowledge. Is he really dismissing her? Because when she wanted to try the little Y stick, he's like, well, do you want to try it? Go ahead. And what did she do? She got petty. She's like, no, forget about it. He tried to do it her way. He offered to do it her way. He stopped and listened. Why are people going after Dan? And then she says, he wasn't even listening to me. He didn't even let me have a shot. No, he did. You just chose not to follow through.
Yeah, and I think since Dan kind of knew how to build a trap and he knew kind of the right and wrong ways how to do thing, him saying, no, we can't use that Y stick is not like, no, Rachel, we can't use that. You're so dumb. It was more, no, that's the wrong material. We need like a thicker stick to make the Y stick. It wasn't her, it was the materials. So he's not, it's not personal, I guess is how you say it.
And you're in the middle of the competition. And he
Yeah.
took the time to address her.
Yes. And what you said about Kai and Alexa, I feel like Team Australia, Team Texas, and Team Pacific are similar, where one individual kind of does have more knowledge than the other. And Kai was like, I know how to do this. I haven't really practiced with it, but I have an idea of what to do. The difference is that Alexa is like, she's know what she's doing. I trust in her knowledge. I'll get her whatever she needs in the moment, and I'll do it as fast as I can. While on the other hand, with Team Pacific, there's a little bit of pushback with Rachel where she's like, oh, I'm not being heard, even though it's like the materials that you have aren't that great. And then Jeff and Kara, I think Jeff kind of thinks he knows what he's doing, but Kara's just like, no, that's not right. But Kara also said, I don't really know how to do this either.
I don't know how to do this, but I know that I'm not going to be the one holding the darn rope and dropping the rock. That was crazy. We're moving on from Dan and Rachel, I guess. And let's talk about Jeff and his trap. Jeff, you make great TV, but bruh, he was so overwhelmed and focused on himself that he didn't even realize that you didn't even have the rock connected to anything. And God bless her heart, Kara. I think you should have spoke up a little bit more, but you probably didn't want to look like a nag. She was so calm about it, but you're in competition. She should have like, Jeff, hello, you big dummy. I'm holding the rock.
Or, yeah, she's like, I can't let go of the rock. It's not attached to anything. And Jeff's like, what? No, just let go of the rock.
I'm going to be honest with you. Leave Dan and Rachel out of it. I think people should be focusing on about Teal and Frank because they're really trying to twist the narrative. But if you really, really look, it was more on Frank and not Teal. She handled that just right. But people should be talking about Jeff's fire dumpster of a deadfall trap. I think his ego is big enough to handle it because he was way off. It was funny.
And with the editing, we don't really know how close Jeff and Kara were to getting fourth place. Based on the edit, it's like we know who first, second, and third, or at least who they were trying to make us think was really close to first, and then fourth and fifth happened a little bit after. But the edit, I would love to know exactly how much time in between each trap, and were Jeff and Kara really that close to getting fourth place? But you just never know with the edit.
Great point. I want to know too. I have to talk about Renee. Brazil is a great country and land. I feel like people are going to come after me. Please don't come after me. I'm only speaking truth here. The real issue here at hand is that there's $200,000 on the line. Renee and Marina's, why isn't anybody talking about the fact that they ran out of wicks? She picked up a stick and he threw some rope in there for a wick. That does not fall in the rules. They said you're allowed to make as many wicks as possible that you want. That was the day before. For you to make a makeshift wick after you run out, I think that would have been game over. Let's just say that they beat Kai and Alexa. Do you think Kai and Alexa would have said anything like, they ran out of wicks. That's not even a wick. I would, because you're taking money and points out of my hand. I'm not saying they cheated. I'm saying they panicked and they're like, we got to make a wick real fast. That was not fair, but luckily it didn't come into play. Maybe that's why nobody's talking about it.
Yeah, I would like to hear the rules to the wicks, because I know a lot of the survivalists clarify in the comments with different rules and stuff, like how Teal online said that production only allowed people to go into the hunting ground if they had built the bridge because of like the dangers with the crocodiles, because I think people are like, well, why didn't they just like jump the river? And go over to the hunting grounds. The survivalists probably didn't see what everyone else was doing in the moment. So it'd have to be up to production to be like, you can't do that. You have to either make your own wick, or since all your wicks are out, you can't use any more materials. And you just have to set your torch on fire and good luck. But
honest, that the way that the rules were presented in the edit, you had to make your wicks before and your torch before nightfall, correct? There was a deadline.
I think so, yeah. I'm trying to remember all the
well,
rules.
then that means you can't make more wicks in the morning. Means you can't make more wicks on the fly. And I'm just saying, I love Renee. I love Marina. Y'all are my first top choice. But rules are made for a reason. And without rules, there's chaos.
I felt bad because with how they're stretching everything out and the fact that the survivalists who placed 6th and 7th on the first phase of the torch challenge didn't get any additional points. I felt like after like the first hour, we did not see Team Brazil and Mexico get 6th and 7th and don't get any additional points. I feel like we barely saw them at all during this episode. It was pretty much focused on the 5 that went on to the second phase of the challenge. It's unfortunate.
I think we're going to see a lot more. I think we're going to fall in love with Renee and Marina, a lot more screen time, and then also Pablo and Fernanda. It just wasn't there. Like I said, they're milking other people right now.
Yep.
Now let's bring this back home to Teal and Frank. Y'all killed it. Y'all rocked it. Teal and Frank should not be ignored. Do I think they're going to win? No. Do I think they're going to have problems? Sure. But they'll come back. I'm already talking about them coming back, and they're still in we're only on we're only on episode 2. Frank and Teal are not to be messed with. Don't sleep on them.
And what's interesting is that Teal, she's had such a large gap between her first challenge and her current challenges because she was on season 9, I believe, with Jermaine. And then people watch her and they're like, oh, she's really cool. And now she's back for Global Showdown. And it's just like, it's nice to see some of the earlier season survivalists coming back, making a name for themselves, and then going on to do multiple challenges. I think Teal has been a great recent addition to Apocalypse and to Global Showdown.
Let's go ahead and go over the first part. They have to make the bridge. Everyone decides to make a bridge. Everyone's bridges are okay. It was a bridge. Kai and Alexa bridge was the best. It was so nice and organized. Some of them were kind of janky. I was like, but it doesn't really matter, does it?
Yeah, it's probably like more of an arbitrary thing. It's like, oh, we have a little bridge over here to take us over to like the hunting grounds. It doesn't have to be like the prettiest thing in the world. And I could have sworn I think only 4 teams made bridges since it was optional. And I think Team USA South, Mexico, and Brazil did not make bridges, I don't think.
How did I miss that? Who did not make bridges?
Frank and Teal did not make one, nor Renee and Marina, nor Fernanda and Pablo.
Why didn't they make bridges? How did I miss? It didn't occur to me because it was common sense to me that everybody would have. So what place would Teal and Frank be in had they made the bridge?
They would be tied for first had they would have the same number of points as USA East, and they would be ahead of Team Australia.
I don't understand this. Why they did. Now I'm mad. I don't know how this escaped my purview. Why wouldn't everybody make a bridge? There was plenty enough time to make a bridge. I don't understand it. Maybe because they didn't think they were going to go hunting, but you need the points. So it was Frank and Teal, which huge mistake, guys. Frank, Teal, what were you thinking? And who else?
And then Mexico and Brazil.
Shut the front door. Okay, Renee, Marina, what were you thinking? And Pablo and Fernanda.
But based off of a trailer, I think that maybe there may not have been a time limit for the bridges. Should I just leave that as is, or should I explain? Because sometimes I say things and people are like, what? But yeah, there's a moment in a trailer where we
said it. Now you got to finish it.
Oh, okay. During one of the trailers, we see, I think, Kai taking off the little cloak to show off the scoreboard. And it showed that Team USA South, Brazil, and Mexico had somehow gotten 100 more points. So I'm wondering if they waited until after the challenge to build a bridge, got the 100 points, because USA South had 400 points at that point. But at the end of this episode, they had 300. And then Mexico and Brazil were at 200 points. So I'm wondering if maybe Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe the bridge they were allowed to do it later, or if I just spoiled what happens in the challenge where those three got 100 points, but who knows?
All right, well, let's talk about Dan's back. That's important. Dan's hurt. He calls the medic. I don't know really why you would call a medic because there's really not anything I would think that a medic could do besides let's document it. I don't know. It's not like he's gonna get an ice pack out there.
Yeah, and I could just see the people on Reddit criticizing the medic because people on Reddit are relentless with medics. They're like, "Oh, they need to drink water in the middle of like the desert. Good job, medics. Thanks so much." This is their words, not mine. Dan is faking a back injury so that when he goes home, he could be like, "My back hurts." But I think Dan has said he's had back problems in the past, but I can't remember. Back problems can come out of nowhere because I remember when I worked at a grocery store, I was doing a lot of heavy lifting and stuff, but there was picked up a wooden pallet and put it on a grocery cart and like wheeled it away. Oh, I'm fine. And then the next day and for like a week, I was just like, oh, my back. So crazy stuff has happened.
Backs are no joke. To everybody out there, he's being painted unfairly. He's not faking a back injury, people. Get it together. Quit picking on Dan.
We got a brief moment with Pablo and Fernando where Fernando's like, hey, on my second challenge, I worked with torches or I made a torch there, but me and Pablo didn't test out this torch because we didn't like want to ruin it before the challenge. And when she said that, I was just like, not testing the torches. That's foreshadowing right there.
I love it when Renee says, if you're not going to play to win, then don't play at all. Is that what he said?
Or I actually wrote this down because I was just like, oh, he's going to say this a lot. If you don't play to win, don't play at all. So
I was right. Great quote, Renee. And I love another thing about Renee is when he was saying, I cannot believe in it. I cannot believe in it. I know this is a English, Portuguese translation thing, but I love the way it sounds. I cannot believe in it.
All right, shout out to Marina and Renee because I think once they learned they were going to be on the competition, they had 3 months to learn English. So not only are they competing with individuals who have done more challenges, they have to do it in another language they're not used to. Fernanda and Pablo are probably ESL or ETL, English second language or English third language, and they're just doing the best they can. I'm just like, I'm just rooting for them. I'm rooting for you.
And we're rooting for you. Marina is very supportive. She took a really big back seat, it felt like, a lot of times as well. Fernanda and Marina both kind of seemed that way, that they were really coaching. They were great coaches. They were coaching their partners from the sidelines, yelling, and I really like that. Matt and Gabby, great partnership. Don't really have a lot to say about that. Matt gave, I think it was really like low shade that he threw at Jeff. He was like, yeah, we finished our bridge already. I think Jeff called it. Matt, I think, was poking, which is fine. I like it.
Yeah, I remember when that happened, people were kind of going back and forth online because we were like, why is Jeff even walking through their camp in the first place? He was going to like see what they were doing. And of course, Matt was going to say all they've accomplished. And then Jeff instantly is like, he's bragging about it. And it's just like, well, you walk through their camp, find another route next time, Jeff. Just kidding. But I'm sure Matt was a little bit like, oh yeah, we finished our torches. We have 35 wicks and our bridge is great and your torch is terrible. Just kidding. Well, he did the next day say like, I don't know what Jeff was doing with that torch. That torch is not going to work out.
Yeah, he said like a cartoon or something. We like that about Matt. You either love Matt or you hate Matt, but I love that about Matt and Gabby. Kai and Alexa, great teamwork. Not really much to say about them. They're sturdy. They're sturdy.
I don't know if it's foreshadowing or not, but kind of like some mentioned how like they were exhausted after the bridge build and the torch build, and they were really the only team we heard of where they're like, oh, we're really tired. So I'm like, ooh, I'm really worried because is it going to try to put in our minds like, oh, they're tired. They're not going to be able to keep up because they're working so hard and they need food or something. And so I was just like worried about the foreshadowing or the editing with that.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eye on that. We already went over Jeff and Kara. She said she's going to have a talk with them. Yes, girl, talk to him. I think that's another thing I kind of like about Jeff. I think you can talk to him and he'll listen. You just have to really get in his face and he's not going to hold any grudges. That's what I think in my head. I don't know. It could be fantasy.
Mate.
Okay. And then Frank and Teal. Frank and Teal, I would love to see them partner again. I hope that they are not disbanded. If there's a competition series, I would love to see them paired up again. You live and you learn. Quit trying to make Teal look like the bad guy, because she's not. And I really don't appreciate that. And I'm sure Teal doesn't appreciate it when I think about it. If I was Teal, don't let that bother you, girl. Shake it off, because real people know and could see what that editing was. The super fans. And Dan and Rachel, Pablo and Fernanda. Fernanda, she has a big mouth, but like in a good way. Blow on it, Pablo. Well, that was her, right?
Yes.
And Run, and she was just really vocal, which is a good thing.
Yes. And I just remember in the trailer, there's a point where she's like, let's go, Pablo. And she's yelling. I think that might have been during like the rafting challenge, because, or in the trailers, we see a rafting going on and we see one partner on the bank of a lake or something. And then we see people on a raft just kind of, and I'm sure it's like, you have someone on shore that tells you what to do. And I'm sure Fernanda had no issues telling Pablo what he needed to do. And he had no issue. He's like, cool, doing this over here. And she's like, do this. Okay.
Question. Do you think Pablo and Renee are really listening to Marina and Fernanda, or are they tuning them out? I don't know, because they say a lot. And I'm just wondering, are they taking what they're saying, or are they just annoying? Maybe they're really easygoing. I don't know, but I loved it. Anything for next week?
Well, there may be a little bit of drama next week, because the next week, when prime hunting grounds are unlocked, several teams take down warthogs. In a multi-stage challenge, competitors pick seeds out of rhino dung and build complex traps. Texas surges ahead, and Jeff calls out Kai. A legend is sent to the first elimination.
So elimination. Let's get down to the business. You talking about legends. I saw a post. I'm not going to talk long about this post, but somebody said that they want Matt and Gabby to win because they're the only two legends, and everybody else is somebody in an underdog. I'm not going to call that person out. I'm not going to go way deep into that, but give it a rest. And love Gabby, but she's not a legend. Is she a legend or a veteran?
It was really interesting because someone tagged us in a comment, because I think Gabby was commenting like, what makes a legend? And Kai's like, you are a legend. And someone was saying like, oh, if you've completed a 60-day challenge, if you've completed 2 XLs, if you've won last one standing, or there's like a miscellaneous like, or like over 200 days and the audience kind of knows who you are thing. And they're like, that's what was outlined on Malou and Gabe's podcast. And I was just like, okay, but I mean, if the finishing 2 XLs does make a legend, then Gabby is a legend, because she completed XL season 5 and then XL Frozen. It was 14 days, but it was in the freezing cold of Montana. So I think technically, based on those parameters, Gabby is a legend, and the audience loves her. So
I'm going to give Gabby a new title. Gabby is legendary. But when it comes to, as she mentioned, that she does not do this for a living, the point that I'm making is that Matt and Gabby, the odds aren't stacked for them. She doesn't do this full time. She's a veteran. She's obviously 100% great. Let's not try to make her and Matt seem like they put them to win. They're the most 2 skilled people there. It's really not that way.
yeah.
Well, I don't know. When you look at the list, Dan and Rachel, okay, Frank and Teal, there's not a legend on that team. Frank and Teal, they're not legends. Neither one of them.
Right. And I also wanted to say, even people are saying, oh, Matt and Gabby are going to win. They didn't win this challenge. They got second, because even Matt was like, I didn't even, Frank and Teal were so far back. I forgot they were even there, and they came in and got in first place. And that just reminds me on Last One Standing season 3, where Matt was making the fire and he goes to get materials, and the next thing Darren wins the competition. They're not winning everything. So that doesn't mean that they're just going to win just because everyone thinks they're going to win based off of statistics.
Exactly. All right, we better stay away from that, because my mouth is going to write a check that my butt can't cash. So let me stay away from Gabby. Gabby, you're legendary.
You're great, Gabby. We love you.
Yeah, I kind of went off the rails there. I wasn't trying to take anything away from you. I was just trying to make a point that things weren't stacked for you. All right. I want to point out some things that were said
Is it Rita again? No, I'm just kidding. You're probably not going to
No.
be hearing from her.
Oh, yeah, she blocked me, which that means I won. Get off my page, girl. So she took my advice. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I have 2 screenshots from the same guy. Interesting. Eddie Singus says, you know what Jeff needs? And I'm dead A. He needs to do a 21-day challenge like Matt and Kai and Max, Gabrielle and Gary and Steven have done as legends, where they mentor 1 or 2 other first-timers on the show at least, and hopefully his mentee doesn't tap. Regardless, if Jeff has 2 and they both cross the finish line, then do it, Jeff. What do you think about that? Jeff being a mentor.
I really want to see that happen. Thank you, Eddie. Eddie pointed out the other survivalists who have done mentoring challenges, and a lot of them have done multiple challenges and have been around for a while. So why not have Jeff come in and mentor a few people? I know he was supposed to come in and help Amber, Jen, and Trish on XL Season 8, but let's have some newbies. Let's get that slate clean. Just have 2 people come in and mentor them, just like how Steven and Laura on Season 18 had 2 people they mentored. And so extra challenge for Jeff. I mean, since he hasn't done it before, it's something new. So he's like, hey, I haven't done this before. Let me back. And I'm sure the fans will be like, oh, I need to see how this goes. So it's definitely I think it's a really good idea.
Too, I thought it was a great idea. Next one. Some guy named Walt. My God, Jeff looks like he's done nothing but sit on the couch and eat donuts since the last time he was on Naked and Afraid. He looks like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and when the show started, everyone ran, and he can't even run anymore. Ha, ha, ha. Walt, ugly post. Ugly, ugly post. And I want to highlight Brad Ford, who said, his name sounds like Bradford. I really like your name, Brad. Fat shaming on NNA as in any other place is wrong. It serves no purpose but to be hurtful. Cease and desist, please. Someone else said, it sounds like you don't understand strategy. But my favorite comeback was by some guy named Jeff Z. And he posts a picture and he says, you clearly have never done a challenge like this before. For a 45-day challenge, I gained at least 55 pounds prior. Fat is very important on these challenges, especially early on. Good for you, Jeff. Good for you. Tell him like it is. Fat shaming is just horrible.
Again, there's plenty enough about his personality to talk about. Talk about that. And I mean,
Are you a Jeff fan?
I'm neutral about Jeff.
You're neutral. Okay.
And yeah, I'm just gonna keep it at that. I'm neutral. And it's like Walt was the person who wrote the mean post. Or it's just like, have you seen what these individuals look like after they do a 40-day challenge, a 60-day challenge, a 21-day challenge? And also, we see Jeff running during like the first challenge when they were running around. He did not seem out of breath at all. He was running, and it's just like, people have their strategies. Leave it alone. You go out and do this, and you can practice your cardio. You could do it how you want, and then you go on a challenge, and we'll see how far you get. Go ahead.
People are just nitpicking. It's ugly. Shame on you, guy. Shame on you. Teal's been making a lot of comments, and she writes really long posts. I like it, but I don't like it because, girl, you don't have nothing to explain because half of these people's comments make no sense anyway.
Yeah, and there also may be the off chance where they may be like, I don't believe you. The edit has told me what it needs to tell me, and I believe that wholeheartedly, despite the fact that people can cut and paste lines and videos wherever they want. There's a thing called Frankenbites or Frankensentences where they can add some audio in the middle of a sentence to make it seem like that was the whole full sentence said in that moment. And it's not, but...
Speaking of, I'm going to bring this back to when Gabby was climbing up the tree and her back was to the camera and she made that horrible scream.
Yeah.
That was so not right there, people.
Yeah, and then after commercial break, she just climbs down from the tree. And
that was hilarious. Then when Jeff says, damn it, I don't think he was saying damn it then and there either. Did you see that? It was after Matt had said something and they showed the back of Jeff. Okay, again, people, when you don't see the mouth move, you have to give it a little bit of thought and say, did they really say that then? That's all we're teaching you.
Yeah.
Become a super fan with us.
Exactly.
Well, this was short and quick, and that's the way we like it. We don't want to bombard you. Quit fat shaming people. Let's stay on topic. And please, when you look at the show, make sure you look at it with the super fan glasses. Don't just look at it and take everything for face value. Please, people.
Exactly. And if you want, I can read Rachel's recent response that she has about the whole situation where people are criticizing her and Dan and their partnership, or we can cut this out and move forward. But I don't know. And Dan did respond to a few comments too.
I did not know that. I stay on and off of social media. Can you sum up her comment, because you read the whole thing to me, and I'll give you the opinion on it, because I don't think her words are worth reading. Go ahead.
Basically, she was talking about how she doesn't want to lie. Let's see. There were a lot of moments out there where I felt dismissed, undervalued, frustrated, and emotional. But then she goes on to say, there is a lot of stuff you didn't see. We do have some good moments. And Rachel says that she kind of has some low moments too. And to stop being mean to Dan, some of the comments have been borderline cruel. And yeah, she says she has some humbling moments. And she also points out that unlike other teams, she and Dan did not get to have the face-to-face interaction that a lot of the other teams had beforehand. So I think that's important to note too, because I think I talked about it last time where we saw pretty much all the teams except for, I think, Texas and definitely Pacific interacting, but then those two teams didn't really have as much one-on-one. So I think that did also affect the partnership. And it's just like, if you're thrown together inside of a pressure cooker, then it's just like tumultuous the whole time and you can't really get your bearings on the situation.
Well, I think that her comment should have been made at a different time, because when you're going to make these comments on this episode, I feel like you should watch this episode and make the comment based on what they showed on that episode. Maybe she was dismissed, undervalued, and all that. Maybe throughout the entire process. But when you look at this show and what really happened, he listened to you. It was a time of chaos. You made some really big mistakes. You wanted to use a little rock instead of the big rock. You didn't understand if now I am going to give her this. Her Y stick, it was borderline okay. But you see what a hard time they're giving him. Stick up for your partner first, maybe. Redo that comment, because I think you're just giving people more reasons to go after Dan. That's what I think. You read it to me. Didn't you read the whole thing to me the other day?
Yes.
He read the whole thing to me yesterday. And
I
just think, go ahead, read one of his.
All right, yeah, I got a few because someone mentioned that he has ADHD, and I don't know how, I don't know if he does, but he says to the person saying he has ADHD, so that can explain his behavior. He says, ha ha ha, yes, that is all accurate. I can't argue with that. I'm ADHD as heck. So I think that can kind of explain his attitude where instead of him being rude and not listening to her, he's just laser focused on the task he wants to do, because if he doesn't do this task, then it's just like, oh, we got to do this specifically or else I'm going to like short circuit. But yeah, it's not him like ignoring her, devaluing her. He knows what needs to be done. And he's like, I have a specific way I need to do it. I know how we need to get it. I'm just going to do it. And we'll see what happens. And then he says, thank you, Rachel. That's incredibly sweet of you. We still had some great times out there. And not to totally deflect responsibility, but selective editing can be rough with the partner comments. Very grateful to have you as a partner.
We don't know. We're only here. But I know that the editing didn't match the words. But you know what? It could have been way worse than that. Dan could have been a total dictator, and we don't know it. We don't know. But I just think, and that's a big possibility. Dan's a little diva. He's a little diva-ish, isn't he? Diva-ish. I think Dan could probably be a little diva. I just think we have to be really careful what we say and how we say it and when we say it. Me, who criticizes everybody. Go figure. All right, Rachel's probably not going to invite me to her next birthday party. Anything else before we wrap up?
That's really all I can think of. And I'm just interested to see about Jeff calling out Team Australia from well, I think in the trailer, we see Jeff calling out, but it's not like a call out like you did something wrong. It was more like, or he says like, hey, Australia, better catch up. And it's just like, ooh.
That's why we like Jeff, or you hate Jeff. And one more thing before we go, because we got to sign off. Whether you love him or hate him, I want you to try to think about this show without Jeff. It doesn't make sense. Jeff's been here for so long. The show does not make sense without Jeff. Doesn't make sense. And that is what a legend is. I'm going to take back what I said earlier. The show doesn't make sense without Matt. Doesn't make sense without Gabby, Jeff, Stephen Lee Hall Jr., Trish, Amber, the EJ, now Dan. I think Dan as well. There's way more that I could list. But yeah, if Naked and Afraid doesn't make sense without that person, you're definitely a legend.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're going to think about all the great guys and gals on this show. Please remember that when you're talking about them on social media. And with that, we're gonna go and do our game. I'm Malu Beyonce, 2-time survivalist and super fan.
And I'm Gabe, 0-time survivalist who has no chance of getting on the show. Thanks for listening.
Like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Now let's go to the game.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna do the recap for the game because we're running out of time. I'm gonna do the recap for the game. It's basically who would we like to see on the next competition series, especially if it's gonna be global. What country are we doing?
We're doing Canada for this episode.
All right. So with Canada, the only few people I can think of are Sunny Mia,
Christopher James.
Jamie. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. The only people I can think of is Sunny Mia, Christopher James, Sean, Chad, and who else?
We also have Ashley from season 18. She works with cows. And we have Elise, who was mentored by Kai and Gabby. And we have, I think, Dawn, Lauren, and Beverly. I feel like, and Michael, who is also on Naked and Afraid of Love and also did a challenge. What?
Not choosing Michael. Okay, so I get to choose, right?
Yes, you get to choose 2.
Do I base this off of my heart or do I base it off of what? What do I base it off of? Because my heart goes directly to Sunny Mia. I mean, I'm just telling you, Sunny, that's where my heart goes to, straight off. And then I would say I would love to see Sunny with, who was with the cows? Ashley, right?
Ashley, yeah.
Was Ashley with Jarrell?
Ashley was with William. Long blonde hair with the beard.
Can't even remember William right now, but I remember Ashley. Sorry, William. Remember, that was a rough time in my life.
Yes.
Sorry about that. Sunny with Ashley would be amazing. I think that would be so amazing because she did her cow stuff. She was like, and we know what they do. And and Sunny is just so easygoing and light. And yes, that's who I would like. Your turn.
Well, before I say who I'm going to say, I wasn't going to pick Sunny. I said Stephen Kelly, and I think it'd be great if he and Sunny can be on a challenge together because then when their teams are in the bottom 2 and they have to go against each other and one beats the other, I want to see if Stephen is going to be I would love to see the look of devastation on his face when, he has to send his best friend home or the opposite. It would be great television. But I'm going to choose Elise because I think that she has great potential and she was mentored by Kai and Gabby on her first challenge. I mean, hello. And I would choose Michael just because he was also on Naked and Afraid of Love and Rachel was on Naked and Afraid of Love, but he is a mountaineer. He's hiking up these massive snowy mountains. He's biking for so long. He's a runner. He has endurance. He has strength. I think he kind of carried his partners on his 21-day challenge. So I'm not saying he would carry
food. And didn't he eat food by himself?
I think he said that maybe I should eat some of these mangoes by myself, and I think took a few bites of some of the mangoes. But I think he shared a few. But I'm not saying he would
without them.
Yeah, but I'm not saying he would carry Elise. I think that they could potentially work well together. There may be some communication breakdown, but I'm sure as long as they can interact with each other beforehand, I think Elise and Michael would be a very strong duo for Canada.
Yeah, I think we have some really good choices. Who would you choose from Canada? Put it in the comments. We're out.
Bye.
All right. So I'm going to stop this.